welcome to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. First of all, thank you very much. Happy Bill Barr Day, everybody. I got you the traditional gift, a bucket of lies. Because, of course, today was the Senate Judiciary grilling of Attorney General and man trying to hold in his burp until the elevator door opens.
Come on, door.
William Barr. The hearing, I don't know about you. Anybody get a chance to watch any of it today? It was incredibly frustrating to watch, filled with legalistic hair splitting and political ass covering. I'd say it made me want to wring his neck, but I'd need like 5 more hands. And the hearing was always going to be contentious. We knew that because after Barr got the Mueller report, he released that 4-page memo trying to sell his spin that Mueller gave Trump, complete and total exoneration. But then we read the report and, surprise, realized on further analysis, no, he didn't. And last night, here's the big thing. The Washington Post reported that 3 days after Barr's 4-page summary, Mueller wrote Barr a letter complaining that Barr did not fully capture the context, nature, and substance of Mueller's work. Context, nature, and substance. That is everything. That's like saying, I really like you did with this, car, except the wheels, the engine, and the car. Apparently, Mueller was just as upset with Attorney General William Barr's characterization of the Trump-Russia report as many Americans were. You know what? It's nice to know that Mueller is as mad as we are. It's like when the nicest girl... Yeah, that's nice to know. It's like when the nicest girl in your friend group finally admits she can't stand Chelsea's new boyfriend either. Chelsea, you're too good for him. Also, I have this weird feeling that Chad's trying to undermine democracy. Stupid Chad. Again, Mueller sent his letter of complaint to Barr on March 27th. But on April 10th, in Senate testimony, under oath, Barr said this.
Did Bob Mueller support your conclusion?
I don't know whether Bob Mueller supported my conclusion.
Yes, you do. I don't know whether he supported my conclusion. I mean, what is knowledge? Can we really know anything? I mean, I know Mueller sent me a letter, but what is letter? Who is Mueller? Where am I right now? Full disclosure, I drank a large amount of ayahuasca tea before this ceremony, and I am on a journey into the infinite. I seek the great dear mother love, show me your face. And a couple of ayahuasca fans here tonight. And we know Barr read Mueller's pissed-off letter because one day after Mueller sent his letter to Barr, the two men spoke by phone for about 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Mueller should have just sent him a text. Bill, you eggplant, this summary is poop emoji, poop emoji, poop emoji. So, poop emoji. So, can I say eggplant on CBS? Can I say? I can. So, Barr had plenty of splaining to do to Congress, but first, he released his opening statement ahead of time, and guess how long it was? 4 pages. 4 pages is evidently the perfect length to say nothing. Okay, class, I want you to read Moby Dick tonight, then do a 4-page summary of what you wish the book was about. Put some sex in there, maybe some vampires, sexy vampires. Then the senators began the Q&A. They asked the Qs, and what he lacked in A, he made up in whole. Because according quality family joke right there. According to Barr, Mueller wasn't mad about Barr's summary. He was mad at the fake news.
I called Bob and said, what's the issue here? And I asked him if he was suggesting that the March 24th letter was inaccurate. And he said no, but that the press reporting had been inaccurate. And that the press was reading too much into it.
Yeah, the press was reading too much into it. You're not supposed to actually read Barr's memo. Just sort of squint at it like it's a magic eye poster. It's like is it a sailboat? Nope. Nope, it's a dolphin with a football. Nope, I got it. It's a sack of crap. There you go. Yeah. A dolphin with a sack of crap. Barr explained that no matter what Mueller felt, who cares what Mueller felt?
Bob Mueller is the equivalent of a U.S. attorney. His work concluded when he sent his report to the Attorney General. At that point, it was my baby, and I was making a decision as to whether or not to make it public.
That's an odd metaphor. Why wouldn't you want to make your baby public? Do we have a picture of Barr's baby? There you go. So I understand. Now, for the record, Barr has his own critique of Mueller's letter critiquing him.
The letter's a bit snitty, and I think it was probably written by one of his staff people.
I can imagine Mueller was a bit snitty because your 4-page summary was a steaming pile of snit. Then Barr took us down to Supercuts for some cheap hair splitting. He said that Mueller couldn't have been mad at his summary because it's not actually a summary.
The March 24th letter was not a summary of the report, but a statement of the principal conclusions.
It wasn't a summary. It was a statement of the principal conclusions. Same way that Bill Barr has not proven himself to be a political prostitute, he is a political call girl. It's classy, okay? Barr even split hairs about his own hair splitting. When he was last in Congress, days after he received Mueller's letter, he told them this.
Reports have emerged recently, General, that members of the special counsel's team are frustrated at some level with the limited information included in your March 24th letter, that it does not adequately or accurately necessarily portray the report's findings. Do you know what they're referencing with that?
No, I don't.
Spoiler, yes, he did. Here's how Barr explained that today.
Why did you testify on April 9th that you didn't know the concerns being expressed by Mueller's team, when in fact you had heard those concerns directly from Mr. Mueller 2 weeks before?
Well, as I said, I talked directly to Bob Mueller. I talked directly to Bob Mueller, not members of his team.
So you didn't talk to the people who wrote the Mueller report, just Bob Mueller. I've never met anyone in Bon Jovi. I just talked directly to John Bon Jovi. That's why I give law a bad name. Now, Senator, I give law a bad name. Woo! Now, thank you. Senator Ben Sasse asked Barr about how foreign spies are using sophisticated new ways to try to contact presidential campaigns.
In a digital cyber era, you don't need a bar and a hooker anymore. You can surround people digitally much easier.
The president, however, I'm guessing, still very interested in that bar hooker scenario. What's that? What's that? I like that. I'll be in the bar. After lunch, Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono took her whacks at this piñata of perjury.
Mr. Barr, now the American people know that you are no different from Rudy Giuliani or Kellyanne Conway or any of the other people who sacrificed their once decent reputation for the grifter and liar who sits in the Oval Office.
Madam, how dare you imply that Kellyanne Conway ever had a decent reputation? Wrong! Hirono kept tearing into Barr.
Being Attorney General of the United States is a sacred trust. You have betrayed that trust. America deserves better. You should resign. I have some questions for you.
That was a quick pivot. This dinner is a disgrace. This restaurant is one giant health code violation. You should be fired. It should be burned to the ground and bulldozed into a quarry. I would like to see the dessert menu. Bring the cart around. But the true star of the Barr bashing was California Senator Kamala Harris. She started... Her family is here tonight, evidently. Harris started by pressing Barr on whether Trump had pressured the Justice Department to investigate Hillary Clinton.
Has the president or anyone at the White House ever asked or suggested that you open an investigation of anyone? Yes or no, please, sir?
The president or anybody else? I'm trying to grapple with the word suggest. I mean, there have been discussions of matters out there that they have not asked me to open an investigation, but...
Perhaps they've suggested?
I don't know. I wouldn't say suggest.
Hinted?
I don't know.
Inferred?
Advanced, advised, advocated, counseled, implied, indicated, offered, proposed, prompted, propounded, recommended, reminded. Sir, I've got a thesaurus, and I'm not afraid to use it. We got a great show for you tonight. Mariska Hargitay is here. But when we return, another Trump nominee hits the skids. Stick around.